On the news out of Victoria that the information of hundreds of thousands of students has been hacked from school systems. Let's speak live now to cybersecurity expert and founder of Aegis Cybersecurity, Luke Irwin. Hi, Luke. What should these students be worried about? How can this information get used?
So one of the key challenges that are going to exist for the students in this space will be around students will typically use and reuse passwords across more than one site. In a prior role, I was a senior manager with the tech department of Education Queensland, and we saw that time and time again. They would regularly reuse these passwords across multiple sites, which mean if they've captured these encrypted passwords and they manage to decrypt them, depending upon how they've been encrypted, the hackers can break those down, work out what they actually are, and then use that to access other websites and other services that students have used. If they're using that from, say, parents' accounts or something similar as well, there could be a propagation through the parents' identities of online systems as well.
Do you think the students need to sort of start changing their passwords on all devices? Obviously, authorities say there's no evidence a third party has used this data yet. Can they be certain of that?
There's no evidence as yet, but if the data has been captured, and if depending on how the department has encrypted that information, there are technologies that can make the decryption effectively impossible and useless if they do break it. But we have no confirmation if that is how they're doing that. My general advice when I'm engaging with clients in this space, because I've been working in this space for almost 25 years, is to, in the event of a compromise, and if there is evidence of a compromise, you start changing the passwords where necessary. This prevents your account being compromised, and turning on things like multi-factor authentication will certainly make it far less likely that even if they do get your password, that they can then get into your accounts, your data, your systems, and possibly even your bank accounts or credit card details.
Is it a constant battle with things like multi-factor authentication? Because none of us like to do it. It's just an extra step.
You have described what is called multi-factor fatigue, and there's actually an entire class of attack that is based around that, where normally at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you'll get request after request after request, and eventually people go, I'm sick of this, I'm just accepting it so I can go back to sleep. They're just overwhelming your desire to do the right thing with your desire to be doing something else. And that's a fairly common attack, and it's not hard to execute by the hackers and threat actors nowadays.
Do you think school systems are particularly vulnerable? Do they have fewer resources to protect, unlike certain corporates?
They certainly have tight budgets. As I said, I was a senior manager for about 5 years with Education Queensland, and the budgets are always tight and constrained, and how to implement things is always a challenge there. The added pressure will be that they are a very, very valuable target. They have kids' data, they have their home addresses, they have all those other bits and pieces like that. And if they can get access to that data, that has value to these groups. So they're always going to be a high profile target. There's nothing that can be done to change that, because the quantity and value of what they hold is immense. So there has to be appropriate controls and appropriate safeguards put in place. And what is appropriate is always the hard question. That gets tied up in budgetary arguments.
We're covering these stories more and more on the news. Are hacks preventable, or just something that companies and individuals need to learn to live with?
There, there's two things. There's cybersecurity and cyber resilience. Cybersecurity is preventing the bad thing happening. Cyber resilience is coming back from it quickly and effectively and detecting when things have gone wrong. It's no longer a matter of if you get breached or if you get hacked. It's now a matter of when. So you want to have the strong defenses in place in order to prevent these things happening in the first place, because it is so much cheaper to prevent than it is to cure. However, you want to have strong resilience to be able to make sure you can recover. That means you've actually tested that your backups work, because the last time you want to find out that your backups haven't worked is when you actually need them. You want to be running scenarios and tabletop exercises with your senior leadership team to drill and practice what to do in the event of a disaster, so it becomes normal, because in these types of scenarios, they are a crisis, and you do not rise to the occasion. You default to your level of training. And if you've never trained, then your level is zero.
Yeah. Okay. Luke Irwin from Aegis Cybersecurity. Thanks for your expertise this morning, Luke. Appreciate it.